I was in a group of young kids taking guitar lessons with a woman named Irene Naftalin when I was about 14, and we were all learning the very beginnings of guitar. And within, I think, a month or two, she said to me, "You've surpassed everybody else, and I don't think I can help you anymore. I think you should go see the guy that taught me." And she said, "His name is Frank Hamilton, and here's his information." And I mean, so it's really just a fluke that I ended up with that. I just happened to be with someone that he had taught. So I can't remember really the first time, but I remember my sister and I going up to Barney Kessel's Music World up in the heart of Hollywood, right up from Capitol Records. And it was this music store, and there were cubicles in the back for teachers. And that's how we met Frank. And I started going there. I think initially he was just teaching me like folk songs and, arrangements from the Weavers and, just stuff like that. And then I think it evolved more as I began to write music. Like the first Joni Mitchell album came out when I was taking those lessons. And I remember it was kind of, it was mind-blowing for us to hear that music. But she had all these tunings and we couldn't figure them out. And I remember there was this one song, I can't remember which one, on her first album, and we took it to Frank and said, "What is this tuning?" And he just went, just had it, I mean, he could just hear something I sat with for days trying to figure out, and he just could tell exactly what she was doing. So he was, just so talented and so giving, I think, also to young musician, really. When I look back at it now and realize he'd been on the road and he'd been playing, and I can see now, that, that's hard to be, teaching kids guitar in a little music store, when you've had this bigger life, but I wasn't obviously aware of that when I was that young. For me, I've seen, because I've done this over so many decades, you've seen, different phases of it. And certainly the 70s for singer-songwriters was a great time. And I kind of came in the tail end of that, but still, that was a wonderful time for me. And then as we evolved into the 80s, everything changed. And there was this English techno music, and singer-songwriters couldn't get arrested. I remember Bonnie Raitt didn't have a record deal. I played a gig with her somewhere, and it was just like, wow, what happened, But then as we've seen, over time, all of that it comes back around, everything comes back around, and I think, for example, someone like Bonnie's she never stopped. She just kept touring, she kept making records, and, she just survived all of that. I mean, for some people, I think it was harder. I certainly had some rough years where I didn't have a record deal and couldn't tour, but I think if the music that you make is good to begin with and has value, it seems to survive. For me, the fact that I can still, go out and play live and go on the road, I mean, it's not to thousands of people, but the fans are still there. So, I'm proud of that. It still gets harder when you're older, but I know there's a lot of great music out there, and a lot of it that I don't really even have time to keep up with, but I'll hear little bits of things on the radio, and Sarah Jarosz, and I just hear there's just great young people, I think, who really are carrying on that tradition, especially folk music and bluegrass. And fortunately, people have really come to that. I think it was hard for that music for a lot of years. I think the whole Americana movement's been great and really made a lot of that a lot more mainstream. Yeah.